What's up, guys? This is Young One from XUFcinema, and I am finally bringing you guys another tutorial for Cinema 4D this time. I've been in love with Cinema 4D ever since the first time I downloaded it. I mean, installed it. Of course, I bought this uh, because I'd probably be in jail by now. Anyways, I wanted to make this tutorial for you guys because a lot of common arms montages I've been seeing lately have been using 3D effects. I've seen one recently from Extremes using the whole hand thing, and I've been using some, as you've been seeing in my mind flow mini tires that I made. And I just wanted to, for all you beginners starting to use Cinema 4D, I wanted to show you some basic stuff. Maybe this tutorial will bring you some fundamental things of how to just make some objects and whatnot. But anyways, let's get started. What we're going to be creating is what I did with my mind flow mini tage, and it's just this kind of abstract triangle piece together object that just floats around. And so we're just going to be making the object. So what you want to do first, you want to create a platonic. It's just a very geometrical shape with lots of triangles, lots of polygon triangles like built together. So what you want to do with this object is turn it into an octa, and you want to increase the segments. What this will do is create more triangles, so when you add the explosion to it, which we will do, it will explode the whole objects with however many segments there are, so you'll get more triangles pieced out around the area. So you want to drop the explosion. I think you want to put the explosion on top and put the platonic on bottom, and then, oh no, it goes the other way. So you put the explosion inside the platonic, and then when you increase the strength, you can see it all piece out. And so we don't want to do that. We want to keep it kind of short and then do it like the opposite way. So take the speed down to a negative, and then make the angles kind of go into their own way. So you might end up having to increase this angle size by a lot, and then you also want to increase this size very large for the in size. So you might have to do this manually, say 100 or maybe 1,000. So yeah, you can already get the idea of what it's doing so far. And to give it that kind of turn effect, you can just increase the speed, which will create turning, but you don't want to gradually do it, like say from 200 to like -1,000. It'll get way too big, so you just kind of keep it short, maybe to like 100 to 0, and then go back up and forth. And then you can increase the angle speed, which will just turn them around and stuff, and keyframe that up and down to wherever you want. And then now we're going to move on to the color, which just double click on this area, and then double click on this matte, and then you want to click on this texture, and then click gradient. This will add the blend to it. Maybe some people are familiar with it in After Effects maybe, or even Sony Vegas. But with Cinema 4D, you want to click the gradient, and then you get this bar, which will, when you add this to it, when you add the matte to the platonic area, it'll give it that black and white blend to it. So when you render it, it's kind of gray and white, just like this. So to add some different colors, you want to double click this, and then maybe give it some red, and then double click this one, give it some blue or purple, whatever. Then if you want some more, just double click on another empty space, and you get another square with a little arrow, maybe some green, and then click over here, you get some yellow. And so that pretty much creates that. And so when you render it, it'll take a while, but you get that. It might be a little blah, but you can adjust it however you want. I'm just doing it pretty quickly so you get the idea. And so if you want to have it shine, just add the glow, just take it, and then it might be a little bright at first. Check the brightness. Yeah, it's very bright. So you could just easily solve that by toning these down. You might have to tone the outer strength probably to 100-ish, somewhere near there. It might not give it as great a glow, but it's noticeable. Yeah, so what you want to do now with the keyframe to get it to rotate, it's very much like After Effects or even Sony Vegas at that. So what you want to do is go to the explosion, not the platonic. So go to the explosion, and then so just go to right click on this little circle, actually the speed one, and then animation add keyframe, and so it'll give you this blue check and then step a few spaces forward. And I believe that, well, I've heard that every 30 seconds, every 30 frames is a second. So 30 frames is 1 second, 60 frames 2 seconds, 90 3 seconds, and the rest you get the point. To increase that, you just bring this bar up, just click and drag up, and then you get some more time. But right now we're just gonna leave it at 90. And so for the first 1 second, which is 30 frames, we're just gonna animate the speed, bring it up a little to give it a little bigger, and then we're gonna do the same thing, right click on it, animation, add keyframe again, and then we're gonna go down to the angle speed, do the exact same thing. We're gonna have it at its regular or its average or our default, what we set it at first, and then we're gonna bring it up. Oh wait, we're gonna go forward to 30 seconds again, bring it up, then gradually increase it, and then right click, animation, add keyframe once again. And so when you play it back or go through the keyframe timeline, it just rotates through. And so it's all the way around just like that. When you render it, it's pretty much the same thing until you play it actually. So I'll play it, and it just spins like that. So I'm not gonna really just add more keyframes, but because you pretty much get the point. And just for a quick thing for people who need to know how to add a shadow, or to just like a basic shadow to feel like it's actually in a place, just go to this light area, go to floor, and then bring the floor down a bit. Make sure it's below this. So zoom out a bit. And what you want to do is right click on the floor, go to Cinema 4D tags, bring it down to compositing, and then uncheck this, and then check the compositing background, and then you want to add a light, and then you just bring the light up to wherever you prefer, and the closer you are, the bigger the shadow is going to be. So if you want to make it more realistic, you have to bring it up a lot. And then what you want to do to the light is go to general, and then go to shadow map soft, then go over to shadow density, bring it to about 50. You can definitely increase it or decrease it to however you're liking. And then when you render it, you get this shadow below it, and then you can even see the little pointy pieces of the shadow, so it looks very realistic when you add it to a Comet Arms map or whatever clip you're trying to add it to. And you might not like the darkness, so you can go ahead and add some more light just to brighten everything else up if you don't want it to be like dark on one side and then light on another. So you can just brighten everything else up by adding another light, and then there you have it. You have everything just as it was, but as well with the shadow. So people who don't know how to render, I'm gonna go through a quick render setting that I use. You go to render setting. Well, first press the render tab, render settings, and then what you want to do is go to output, and then the width, what I usually use is 1280 by 720, and then for when you're rendering, you want to set it to a from and to, so that's where you're starting, so just leave that at 0, and then what we went to was 30 on our timeline. And then what you want to do is go to save file, save it to wherever, C4D Mindflow tutorial, save that. And then what you want to do for format is, well, this is actually where the plugin might come in, but it's a free plugin. It's just a QuickTime movie, and you can get it for free. Usually people have it, but you want to just click QuickTime and then go to options, and compression type, you want to bring it down to H.264. I don't know why, but people say it's like the best quality or something, but to me it is the best quality out of all of these. And so now you want to bring this to 60. I don't mess with the keyframe every frame, but if you have better rendering settings, then by all means please do whatever you feel is better, and then press OK, and just don't mess with these. And then you can save it from here just by clicking this, just a quick tap, and then it'll bring up this screen. And wherever you're aiming at on your original, this screen right here is how it will render. So make sure you have your right positioning of this, or it'll render exactly what it's looking at. So if you want it right here, it'll render right there exactly like that, or if you want it right here, it'll render like that. Or you can check these cameras and then find out a good place where you want it. Like this is the average camera that you start out with. This is all the other ones that you can choose from, but right now we're just gonna do perspective, and just tap this again, and that's just what I did before. So just press yes and just overwrite that if you ever get that, and then it'll render out. It might take a while depending on how much objects you put into it, or how many in the platonic area, or how many segments you do. So it's all up to you however you do that. So when this is done rendering, you will just see the same exact thing that we were doing with the keyframing. It'll just slowly rotate with that with the glow and everything, and the gradient colors will just pop through. And if you wanted to add it to a CA map, you just simply add the background to it. I know I should have showed you guys that before, but I'll probably do that in a later tutorial. But when this render is done, I actually won't be playing mine, but you will see yours, and it should all work out. If there's any errors, just leave it in a comment below, and I'll gladly respond to it. Thanks, some young one, and I'll bring you another one soon. Peace.